Hello, kings and queens. You're listening to Affirmations of Excellence, an offering of personal devotions to fuel your week. I am your guide, Ellis, and I'm so excited to create a space of encouragement and inspiration for each of you. The person who lives a life of excellence is one who is willing to do and to dare. As living souls made in God's image, we are not called to mediocrity. We are called to excellence. Excellence is a result of a prosperous, well-lived, and fulfilled life. And this podcast is for those who sense a royal calling on your life, those who are learning to hear God's voice in clarity and need motivation for the assignment, and who want to live out his calling with excellence. Each week, we'll explore themes of everyday life and talk through ways to escape mediocrity and find true fulfillment. In today's world, we've been trained to assume that if something doesn't come to us easily, there must be something wrong. Every decision we make, from technology to money to our careers to our relationships, we generally assume that if it's not happening with ease or if it feels unfair, then we're experiencing a struggle. And naturally, we believe a struggle is bad. Throughout our lives, we develop our character consciously and unconsciously. And in your journey, you will learn to develop your character in ways that bring remarkable rewards. We've been talking about manifesting goals and desires and praying and fasting with intentionality. And while excellence is the theme we will continue to affirm, this week's episode is about struggles. It's impossible to live a life of excellence without struggle, so we'll talk about what it means to tackle hardships with hope. Let's dive in here today. Kings and queens, be sure to share, rate, and subscribe as you listen today. Before we dive in completely, I want to share a reflection on the life and legacy of NBA legend Kobe Bryant. Kobe is considered to be one of the world's greatest athletes, not just because of his talent, but because of his incredible mindset and work ethic. As we were producing this episode, the horrific news broke that Kobe and his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, were killed in a helicopter crash along with 7 others. Kobe, to me, was kind of like a big brother. Not personally, but I was in middle school when he made his announcement to skip college and enter the NBA at the age of 18. He became one of the overachieving superheroes in pop culture whose hard work, intelligence, and humility I found fascinating. And he reminded me so much of the guys I grew up with that lived and breathed basketball. Later, I would admire his obsession with excellence, a relatable quality that he was often misunderstood and disliked for. We look at successful people and overestimate their talent because we forget about their obsession with excellence, which inspires their willingness to outwork anyone else and overcome any struggle they face. My favorite off-court memory of Kobe, and perhaps the moment that relates directly to the topic of this episode, was when he was on stage accepting the Icon Award at the ESPYs in 2016. Around this time, I had started the routine of waking up around 4 a.m. to work out and get ahead of my day. The year prior, I had experienced a series of major struggles, and I was determined to rediscover Ariel and redefine my purpose. As a fan, I admired how competitive and disciplined Kobe was. It reminded me of myself in some ways. So once I became relentless about my new pursuits and serious about repositioning my purpose, I started going to the gym at 4 a.m. every morning. I began to not only see results in my fitness and appearance, but everything else became clearer and more precise, especially in how I affirmed myself and invested in my relationship with God. So when Kobe retired and received the Icon Award in 2016 at the ESPYs, he addressed his fellow athletes in a speech that still sticks with me to this day. Quote, "We're not on this stage just because of talent or ability. We're up here because of 4 a.m. We're up here because of 2-a-days or 5-a-days. We're up here because we had a dream and let nothing stand in our way. And if anything tried to bring us down, we use it to make us stronger. We were never satisfied, never finished, and will never be retired." End quote. Toward the end of the speech, Kobe quoted one of his high school teachers by saying, "Rest at the end, not in the middle." Kobe Bryant obviously lived that quote and will now get his rest. He didn't become one of the greatest basketball players of all time simply because of talent. He was great because he was willing to put in the work every single day. 4 a.m., 7 days a week, no matter the struggle. There's a discrepancy between the two truths that life can be both tragic and beautiful, and even simultaneously. These two truths create a painful tension that many of us refer to as struggle. It's a stretch, a strain, a pull, a weight that we fight to experience the fullness of God in the midst of a world that is tragically broken. The dictionary defines struggle as a forceful or violent effort to get free of restraint or resist attack. In a biblical context, we can apply that to a struggle to free ourselves from sin or a struggle to resist attacks from the enemy. I know a little something about struggle. Growing up, life was good. I'm an only child, so all of the time and resources my mother could give were allocated only to me. I was well balanced, but a little spoiled, and I like to say I was spoiled with love. Lots of attention, lots of hugs and kisses. I was never short on those things, or any financial or material provision. I always felt safe and secure. And though I didn't want for much, I knew the value of hard work and understood that I was fortunate. But as an adult, I chose the path of entrepreneurship, and that became my introduction to struggle. And because entrepreneurship has many ups and downs, I have accepted that struggle has to be a necessary stop on the journey in life. And in adulthood, I started to grapple with other things in my personal life unrelated to my career that I would categorize as a true struggle, and also began to see how various struggles affected the lives of loved ones and those around me and in society in some of the most challenging ways. It'd be foolish of us to think that God allows us to go through life with absolutely no hardships and difficulties. And even if entrepreneurship had not been a significant part of my life, and it may not be for you, a struggle or a series of momentary struggles are guaranteed. No matter how strong you think you are, there will always be something that disrupts your peace, shifts your circumstances, limits your livelihood, pauses your progress, and tests your character. It doesn't have to be life or death or detrimental to success, but the highs and lows will come. And most times, the lows will be a struggle to get ahead and move to the next level, to fix what went wrong, to get over a bad decision or a disappointment, to make ends meet or to break into the right space, to bend broken relationships and pursue the right ones, to establish boundaries, a struggle to reach a comfortable position in life, a struggle to love yourself and be fair to yourself, to stay healthy or recover from an illness, to let go of resentment or guilt, to overcome hurt and loss, and to heal from anger, sadness, and pain. The struggle, no matter how it looks, is real. I like to verbally admit my struggles. I guess I'm a little different in that way. I suspect that most people would probably avoid telling others that they are struggling or have struggled with something, an issue, an offense, a weakness, a process. I, on the other hand, feel better admitting to others than to tell myself. I feel that if I internalize it, I will continue to manifest the struggle. Maybe I've been listening to so much Esther Hicks over the years and her study on the law of attraction that my natural habit is to redirect my head and my heart to what I want my circumstances to be instead of giving consistent energy to the things that I don't want. I have recently, though, through a good bit of therapeutic sessions, learned the importance of recognizing a feeling, giving a brief acknowledgement that it does exist, point to the source of the feeling coming from somewhere inside of me, and then letting it go in order to receive the thing I want more of. That's the thing about vulnerability, which will be a topic of an upcoming episode. Everybody longs to be understood, and admitting who and where we are in relation to our struggles requires vulnerability. So, a struggle, whether it is self-inflicted or God-ordained, it means that I have to frame my struggle as an experience that is shaping and growing me for God's glory. For example, if you struggle to pay bills on time and it impacts your way of life to the point of experiencing lack, loss, or dysfunction, there are some decisions and practices you may need to rethink. Do you have a budget? Do you follow it? Are you overspending? Are you being irresponsible? Do you need a higher paying job or a side hustle? God does not desire that we experience the struggle of lack. So when we mishandle or misappropriate our resources, it makes it harder for Him to choose to bless us with abundance. Our misalignment in our stewardship is working against the abundance that we could be experiencing. It's a character flaw. We say one thing and do another. And we have to be honest about what struggles we find ourselves in that God never intended for us to experience. I've learned that God can use a struggle as a way to grow you up, to mature you, and to stretch you. He does things preemptively. His way of protecting us and getting us to trust Him sometimes is to teach us the lesson without having to go through the full struggle of it. And later, the reason is revealed. He plants you to grow you, even if it's uncomfortable. Because for where you're going, it will require maturity. God has to make your heart ready. The struggle is what makes you mature enough to properly handle the blessing that waits ahead. And sometimes what we do is self-sabotage in the process because we don't think we deserve the blessings. The struggle feels too uncertain or too uncomfortable, or the process requires more of an investment from us than we're accustomed to giving. So we perform these unhealthy, destructive behaviors to undermine our good efforts and thwart the power of a prospective opportunity. God could present the best laid plans and have a wide open lane directly to the thing we need and desire the most, and we'll wreck it and waste it. And because God is not the author of confusion and He expects us to be good stewards of our blessings, He will often step away and let you miss out and learn the hard way, when the whole time He was trying to set you up and keep you free. This is why I offer you affirmations. I am in love with words. Not only am I in love with words, I am in love with the heart of God. God gave us words, and words are serious business. And I believe we need to get serious about learning how to use them and begin to make words work for us just the way God does. The Bible says that we should speak things not as though they were, Romans 4:17. Notice in the Bible how God never does anything until He says it. That's the way He works. God has done nothing in the earth without first speaking it, and God will do what is spoken in faith. And even now, in your struggle, you have the power to shift your language and watch your head and your heart follow. The tongue is powerful. You cannot desire something you speak against. Use your faith to the limit. Dare say some things in faith in the midst of your struggle. And what if the struggle persists? Well, you've used your faith to the limit and did what you could. Recently, T.D. Jakes preached an amazing sermon titled The Backside of Better, and in it, he declares how struggles are required in order to achieve excellence. Struggles on the road to excellence can be classified as preparation, and preparation, Jakes says, is never time wasted. He reminds us that excellence costs us something. It means facing your fears and not letting the struggle distract you from your promise. How should we pursue excellence in our struggles? We should lean all the way in. This means we're allowing the desperation of the hardships and the trials we face to make us cling to God tighter and tighter. We should seek to grow in wisdom. This means we allow the struggle to stretch us in ways we may not like, but we know it's shaping us into who God is making us. We should help ourselves by helping others. This means we leave the pity party and get vulnerable with our struggles by accepting the fact that our pain can be the platform to relate to someone else because we're not alone. Kings and queens, struggles might hinder you, but they don't define you. What if instead we considered a struggle to be a temporary privilege? Let's revisit the assumption that a struggle is always bad. It isn't. It can groom us for excellence. If we consistently see struggle as a bad thing, we reject the beauty of it. Psalm 30:5 says, "Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning." No matter what has happened in our lives, we can be comforted that God is there. In the toughest struggles of my life, I still somehow feel the most amazing sense of joy and peace. And I know that's what God wants us to be reminded of. Life is full of hardships, but we can be comforted in knowing that He knows our hearts more than anyone and will love us through our struggles. Now that we've explored how excellence can come from our struggles, let's pursue these affirmations for the week. Say this with me. Lord, I beg you for better. In the highs and lows of my life, I believe God is with me. I have the strength to endure every struggle that is in front of me. My struggle will one day be my success. God is not working for my comfort, but for my character. My story is still being written. Kings and queens, may you be fully equipped to master excellence in the world this week. Go be excellent, and don't forget your crowns.